We got to come to terms with what we are dealing with when we are being manipulated by a narcissist, and we start by understanding this. We can summarize a relationship with a narcissist to two words. The word number one is lie, and word number two is believe. Well, guess who the liar is? The liar is the narcissist because he or she is putting on this fake, persona, this fake personality, sometimes actually telling flat out lies. Now, when I think back at some of the narcissists that I've had to deal with in my life, I wonder why I didn't catch these things or why I didn't understand how significant they were. I mean, I've had friendships with narcissists who didn't have jobs. I mean, they spent their entire lives bumming off people. How obvious is that? Well, to me, it wasn't obvious at all. I kind of felt sorry for the guy. Well, he just can't seem to make his way in life, and I didn't realize that I was being used, but I was being abused. So number one, if we're going to understand how we can defeat a narcissist, we have to come to terms with this simple principle. It's summarized in two words. It is a lie-believe relationship. The narcissist is lying, and you are believing his or her lies. Well, number two is this. You don't have a relationship with a narcissist. What you have is you have an arrangement. Now, when I talk about a relationship, I'm talking about that type of human interaction where we actually care about each other. There's an element of love and concern and, human dignity. None of that makes any sense to most people who are who have this mindset of narcissism. It's all about them, period. Nothing else to it. Now, they understand those concepts only to the extent of how other people see them, so that the narcissists themselves can use those things to manipulate others. But once you understand, I got this narcissist in my life, and hopefully you're not married to the person. Hopefully it's not somebody who is related to you. Hopefully it's somebody that you can get away from, but I'm sorry to say that I think probably most of the time that's not true. You're kind of stuck with them one way or the other. So you've got a relationship with a narcissist, but it's not a true, genuine human relationship. That's something that is so vital to understand. It is a controlling and dominating relationship, and guess who is doing the controlling and the dominating, and guess who is being controlled and dominated? You were the one being controlled and dominated. Well, you got to somehow turn that around. It's not easy, but I got to tell you, I've been in those relationships before, and it took some time, took some effort, but I got away from them. And I can tell you how I did it. You can learn from my experience if you care. Number three is narcissists seldom seek what we call soothing. So if a narcissist wants to be in a relationship with you, friendship, love, interest, whatever, what is he or she looking for? Are they looking for empathy? Are they looking for love? Are they looking for moral support? What they're looking for is they're looking for control. They need somebody to control so that they can feel important. That's what it's all about. You got to understand, and I think a lot of people listening to me do, that a person who we consider a narcissist has this grandiose self-image where he or she is superior to everyone else, but deep down inside they know that is not true, and so they have to reaffirm that self-myth. And the way to do that is to take advantage of other people, proving that if they can fool somebody else or steal from somebody else and get away with it, well, obviously, they're smarter, right? That's the way these people think. Number four is narcissists have no interest in resolving problems. Well, not real problems. Now, a problem to a narcissist means he's losing control or she's losing control. That's a problem they're interested in resolving. But if you are having any kind of difficulty or challenge in your life, a narcissist, quite frankly, could care less or could not care less about you. They care about themselves and how they can take advantage of you to their own benefit. That's it. And if you start hanging around with a narcissist, you start to wonder, does this person actually care about anyone but other than themselves? And you soon find out that the answer is no. The narcissist is interested in being revered. He is or she is interested in being admired. Their opinions are more important than everybody else, and of course they are always correct. Doesn't matter how dumb they are. They just simply can't imagine that they're no, I'm not going to say brain farts. I almost did, but I'm not going to say it. But they just can't come to the terms that their stupid ideas or anything other than stupid ideas. So what to do? Well, this. Consider just keeping detailed records. Now, I'm not talking about being obsessed with this where you spend half your day writing down everything the narcissist did to you, but maybe take a few minutes once, twice a week and just kind of ruminate over your experience with a narcissist and keep the records detailed enough so that they are reliable. Don't just say, the guy's a jerk. There's my accounting for this week. So if you want to break free from these people, you need to have something, my opinion. And I'm not a professional. I'm just somebody who's experienced this. But what I found is it's really, really important to maintain something that you could fall back on that is convincing, that is not hearsay, his word against my word or her word against your word, And what I discovered is, this is not true of every narcissist, but what I discovered was these people, a lot of them have criminal histories. I mean, extensive criminal histories. I had one narcissist in my life, and I thought, I'm going to go down to the courthouse and I'm going to check with the clerk's office because this guy may have something in his past that I need to know about. Talk about naive. I had no idea what I was getting into. I, went in there, got on their computer, looked the guy's name up, and guess what? There was a flood. I mean, just tons and tons and tons of lawsuits. And, where the guy didn't pay his bill, never paid, I don't think he ever paid his rent. He'd have car repair, never pay. I shouldn't say he never paid, maybe paid, but there were lawsuits for just all kinds of things. This is the guy's lifestyle. And he never talked about it. And I dug a little deeper, and guess what? This guy spent a year in jail. Yeah, he was prosecuted 3 times for check deception. First time they let him off. Second time they gave him a wrist slap. And the third time they put him in jail for a year. I had no idea. I thought this was my best friend. I thought this was some guy that I was just trying to help out. A little quirky, he'd disappear now and again. I didn't know he was in jail. I had no idea. He came across to me as just to show you how gullible I am, came across to me as this Christian with amazing spiritual insights. Now the guy was a grifter. He was a bum. He was taking advantage of religious people, and some of us were just too dumb to see through it. So number 5 is don't be afraid to keep detailed records, and sometimes that may involve going to the courthouse, or you could probably do this online nowadays, and check the guy out. That's why they have court records, and if you don't know how to do it, you might want to talk to somebody who is involved in the legal profession. So number 5 is you need to keep detailed records. We talked about that, where you every week or two, your experiences, just mark them down, kind of like a diary of what's going on. Okay, that takes us to number 6. The way, and this is, I think, the most important thing of the 7 points we got, is the way to strip a narcissist of his value, which he doesn't have any in the first place, is to ignore him or her. So the value of a narcissist is all concocted in his or her brain. These people have very little value. They don't. There are some exceptions, but the ones that I have known, they don't take care of their families. They don't take care of themselves. If they have children, chances are they've abandoned them to some extent. They just irresponsible people. But for some reason, they present themselves as having immense value. It's almost compensatory, like they understand. They know how devious and incapable they are of doing anything good and right, and so they make up stuff. A lot of these people that I've encountered, not all of them, but they actually live a fantasy life. They are taking a stand against the evil empire, whatever that is. So the way to strip a narcissist of value is ignore them. Just get away from them. It may take a while. I think one narcissist, I think it took maybe a few months. Guy finally disappeared, went somewhere else. Another guy took years. People who are narcissistic, they just, there's a reason we call them narcissistic, is because they just have this super high evaluation of themselves, which, by the way, they know deep down inside is totally bogus, and they don't want to confront that bogusosity. I just made up a word, bogusosity. They don't want to confront that. And when you point it out, man, they really get mad at you. I mean, they really get mad at you. All right, so let's put it in this context. What makes real estate valuable? Well, if you were to ask a real estate agent, they may come up with some answers. One of them typically is location. So, for example, I want to buy a couple hundred acres. I'd like to have a nice mountain, maybe a mountain lake. Maybe up in Alaska somewhere. I'll probably get that pretty cheap, right? Because, the closest airport is 200 miles away. There are no roads to get to it. I gotta. What's the point of doing that? There's no minerals on the property that you have access to, but it's pretty. To me, I'd love to live in a place like that. Never mind that it's dark, so many months out of the year, and you could just freeze to death. But some of the time it is nice. So, what makes real estate valuable? What makes it valuable is that there is something intrinsically valuable to you, right? Okay, that's easily understood. So, where I live, this real estate is valuable because it's close to shopping. It's close to my family, my kids, my brothers, my sisters, extended family. Because it's close to, what else is it close to? It's close to the interstate. I mean, it's a good location. Basically, it's flat, just a parcel of land with a house on it and a cabin that I'm sitting in. It's not what you would call extremely high-end real estate, but it is to me because, it fits. Okay, what does that have to do with anything? What makes something valuable? What makes a relationship with a narcissist valuable? I can't think of a single thing. So why are you hanging out with a narcissist? Sometimes they have you tied, if you're in a marital situation, or maybe if it's a workplace where you got to put up with this guy because, if you quit your job, go somewhere else, there's another narcissist waiting. So you can't do that. But if you can get away from them, understand that there is, based on my experience, and I haven't experienced everything, but I'm nearly 70 years old, I've experienced a lot. But based on what I have experienced, there's some people that the best thing you can do is just walk away from them because there absolutely positively is no value hanging out with these people, and they will find that highly offensive because, you're their supply, right? And they will trash talk you the best they can, but even that, eventually it's going to fade into the background because they got new marks. They can't focus on you forever because they got an ego that needs to be fed, so they got to focus on somebody else. So the way to strip a narcissist of his or her value is really kind of simple. Just ignore them. Don't fight with them. Don't argue with them. No tit for tat. I mean, if you want to do that, I got a lot of good suggestions. I don't take those my own suggestions, but if you want to, I'll tell you what to do. I think it's kind of dumb, kind of silly, but you can if you want. But, what makes real estate valuable is it's valuable to you. What makes a friendship with a narcissist valuable? Nothing that I can think of. Not a single thing, unless you're married to them or something like that. Number 7 is this, and I phrase this as a question: how is it that we are going to effectively deal with a narcissist so that we can defeat them? Well, this is kind of a fun thing to do, and that is to create your own fantasy. Maybe just try that. Create your own fantasy. Just keep in mind it's a fantasy. It's not real. So imagine that you are a secret agent, for example, and your assignment, should you choose to accept it, is to collect psychological data on the narcissist. Sounds kind of silly, doesn't it? Yeah, well, you want it to be silly because you don't want to take it too seriously because you start to believe your own silliness. But what that does is it puts you in control. You're playing a psychological game on yourself. So your assignment, should you choose to accept it, is to collect data psychological data on this person who has been oppressing you for so long. What does that do? Well, number one, as we already said, it puts you in control, but it also confuses the narcissist. Now, by the way, I say this just off the top of my head, but as you get accustomed to working with a narcissist, you also become accustomed to what it is that they expect and what they don't expect. And you can actually use that to annoy them. I don't like to annoy people pointlessly, but if it gets them to back off, if there's some dog chasing you, you want to do something that convinces the dog go away, right? So if you have a narcissist who is pursuing you, you want to make it very unpleasant for him or her to do this. And one of those things is confuse them with the truth. Communicate to other people. Do it in a legal manner, by the way. Make sure you're not libeling yourself. But do it in such a way that the narcissist knows that you are on to them. And the more that they harass you, the deeper they're digging for themselves, the hole for themselves. Now, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for stopping by, and we got new videos coming out all the time. So, yeah, give the video a thumbs up, and we'll see you at the next video.